Hey everyone, this is Miko from the Permit Empire, and I want to thank you so much for tuning into this video. I want to thank those of you who have recently liked, commented, shared, or even subscribed to my channel. And I want to let you know that I really do appreciate it. And I ask that if you have not done any of those things so far, that you go ahead and feel free to do so today. So I wanted to do a quick little story time about why I personally always advise everyone who asks to go ahead and make sure you get at least a 50% deposit up front before you even submit that permit, that initial permit. The reason I say that is because, like I said, a little bit of a story time. I had a previous client, where he gave me a few different permits. He wanted me to go ahead and have them submitted to the building department. And of course, I have no problem with that. Nothing new. I did a couple of them and everything went fine. I was paid for it. It was fine, right? And then I did the last one. There was a third one he gave me. Now, I went ahead and I submitted it to the building department without payment. And I paid the initial $50 because this certain permit, it was a two-step process for the most part. You had to submit it first to see if it was approved through the asbestos department, because this was an interior renovation, so they had to make sure that it would be approved through the asbestos department first. I did that submission first. I paid the $50. That was the cost of it. Of course, I billed the contractor, but like I said, I had already did two previous contracts or two permits with him and everything went fine, right? So I went ahead and I did this because he told me to go ahead and do it. He would pay me. I went ahead, I made that $50 payment. And so now I have all of those documents and I submitted it to the building department. I got the permit number and I billed him for it. And I never got paid. The property owner actually had a problem with the project. She didn't even want to go forward with the project, at least with this contractor anymore. She was having issues, getting in touch with him, different things of that nature. So at this point, she was just tired of it. And I actually personally spoke to her and she told me, she goes, you know what? Initially, they had already told me that they submitted the permit or that they were submitting the permit, before you even stepped into the picture. And I'm feeling like scam. That's pretty much what she was saying. She was like, this doesn't feel right because I've also been having so much problems getting in touch with the contractor. And now that I've threatened to stop the project, then they send you over to pick up the documents and you get things started. And she's like, to me, it just doesn't feel right. So I don't want to go through with the project because I've had so many issues so far with the project and I'm pretty much threatening them, and that's the reason why it seems like they sent you over to me, because I actually went to her to pick up the permit. I went to her to pick up she had all the documents signed. I went over to pick it all up from her. And of course, our meeting went well, but after the fact, she said once it was submitted, she was grateful that it was submitted, but she's like, I don't think I want to go through with it because I'm just getting a bad vibe with this contractor because of all of the issues that I am having with him. That contractor never paid me. He never paid me for the $50 for me just submitting to the asbestos. He never paid me for that. He never paid me for submitting the permit. However, I did everything. I did get all the documents from her. Like I said, I submitted it initially to the asbestos department. Now I've submitted it to the building department. I got a permit number, all that good stuff. It has all happened. And just like she said she was having a problem getting in touch with him, I noticed that I was starting to have a problem getting in touch with him. And I was getting crickets when I was calling him or sending him messages. So that was my story time with you guys. I never got that money. And that is why I stick to it. Make sure you get your 50%, at least your 50% deposit up front. In some cases, I will collect the full permit payment amount up front, the amount for my services. A lot of times we do not know what the building department is going to charge, so I can't charge the customer for that already because I don't know what they're going to charge, but I do know what I'm going to charge. So make sure you're collecting that at least the 50% up front. If it's a situation where you're just not sure, this just feels, you're concerned, you can either walk away from the project, which I have had to do before as well. You can walk away from the project or you can collect the full amount up front. So learn from my mistakes in this aspect and know that this is why when everyone asks me about, those payments, how much do I collect up front? When do we get paid? I'm always going to tell you the same thing. Get at least that 50% up front. And I know I am harping on it, but it is for a good reason, because you don't need to be taken advantage of. If you are providing services, you should be paid for what you're providing. You're due that. You are due that. That is not, a handout. That's not somebody just giving you something. No, you work for that, and you should be compensated as such. So, moral of the story, please make sure that you are collecting at least a minimum of 50% upfront payment for your services. Also, if you can, take a blank check from that contractor, from that investor, from that homeowner, whoever is responsible for paying for the actual permit. Take a blank check from them. Have them fill it out, have them address it to that building department, and that you'll go ahead and you'll fill out the rest of it when you get there, if that is something that's going to be needed. Also, a lot of building departments will give you a link, or they have a link to payment for that certain permit. Forward that over to your contractor, the investor, the property owner, whoever is responsible for paying for that, because you do not need to be stuck holding the bag. Okay? So if you have any questions, you have any comments, definitely feel free to leave them below, and I look forward to chit-chatting with you later.